Welcome, dear traveler. Tonight, we will step quietly into another time, another world. Your day is behind you now, and the soft embrace of night wraps gently around you. Let your eyes grow heavy, your breathing slow and deep. Oh, you are safe. You are warm, and you are ready to drift into history. Tonight's relaxing historical bedtime story will carry you to the Wild West of the 1800s, a place of wide-open skies, dusty trails, and the slow rhythm of frontier life. We will wander softly through quiet wooden towns, ranches, and endless prairies, moving at the gentle pace of the American frontier. As this story unfolds, it will guide you toward sleep, allowing history to settle around you like a soft, comforting blanket. Take a long, deep breath and let it out slowly. Feel your shoulders soften and your hands grow heavy against the bed. In your mind, the world begins to change. The sounds of the present fade, replaced by the gentle whisper of a prairie wind. The air is warm and dry, scented faintly with sagebrush and sun-baked earth. A lone wooden windmill creaks in the distance, turning slowly, almost in rhythm with your breathing. You are arriving in a quiet frontier town. Sometime in the late 1800s, the dirt street is empty, and your footsteps stir only a soft puff of dust. Wooden buildings line the road, their porches shaded by awnings, and the swinging saloon doors move gently in the breeze. Somewhere, a horse snorts softly, its hooves shifting against the packed earth, and a wagon wheel creaks faintly in the distance. Everything is slow here. Everything is calm. In this peaceful frontier journey, you are both a listener and a traveler. You drift through the town as an unseen observer, yet the story touches your senses. When the wind blows, you feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. When the loose boards of a porch creak, you hear the wooden groan in the still air. The town is alive in the softest ways, as if history itself has slowed to match the steady rhythm of your breath. Let yourself sink deeper into this moment. Your body is heavy now, and your mind is light, floating with the dust and the wind along. The empty street, you imagine stepping toward the edge of town where endless golden prairie stretches in every direction. Tall grasses sway in a slow, hypnotic dance, and a hawk circles silently overhead. In the distance, blue hills rise softly against the horizon, and clouds drift lazily in the wide open sky. Out here, time seems endless, and each passing moment feels like a gentle wave lapping at the shore of sleep. You can feel the quiet comfort of the frontier night approaching. Soon, the lamps in the windows will flicker, and the crickets will begin their song, a soothing chorus that lulls travelers into rest beneath the starlit sky. Take another slow, easy breath, and let it drift out. The Wild West of your dreams is ready for you, calm and inviting. Tonight, this History Sleep story will take you through a full day in frontier life, letting you experience the peaceful rhythm of the American West from morning's soft light on the prairie to nightfall under a quiet, star-filled sky. And as the story unfolds, it will hold you gently, leading you further into calm, deeper into rest, until the Wild West becomes a dream and your body sinks into sleep like the sun into the horizon. The soft hum of the prairie wind is the first sound you notice as the world of the Wild West settles around you. It moves gently through the long grasses, creating a whispering sound like distant waves on an invisible ocean. The morning sun rises slowly, bathing the open land in a golden glow that stretches as far as the eye can see. Here, on the edge of the American frontier, life moves at the pace of nature, slow and steady, just as your breath moves in and out. From your listener perspective, you are a silent traveler, stepping softly into this calm, distant world. The air is dry and warm, carrying the scent of earth, horses, and faint wood smoke. Behind you, the small wooden town rests quietly, the boards of the saloon porch still creaking from the last gentle wind. Ahead, the prairie stretches wide, inviting you into its peaceful, endless rhythm. You begin to walk slowly down the dirt street, boots sinking lightly into the packed earth. The town is waking up. A distant rooster crows. Breaking the silence for a moment, a single horse nickers in the stable, the sound soft and steady. Somewhere inside a cabin, a door opens, and the smell of bread baking drifts out into the morning. Air that the rhythm of life here is gentle, free of the noise and hurry of the modern world. Each sound is separated by long stretches of quiet, leaving space for your mind to relax, for your thoughts to drift like tumbleweeds across the street of this little town. Now, the story gently shifts to a character's point of view. Imagine a frontier woman named Clara standing on the porch of her small wooden cabin at the edge of town. She is dressed in a simple calico dress, her hair pulled back and her hands still dusted with flour from kneading bread. From her porch, she watches the sun rise over the prairie, feeling the warmth touch her skin as the coolness of the night lingers in the shadows. She hears the same sounds you do: the rooster, the wind, the creak of a wagon wheel somewhere beyond the town square. To Clara, this is home. Life here is simple and quiet, and though work fills the day, the morning always begins like this, with a soft pause before the world truly wakes up. From your listener perspective, you walk past Clara's small garden, where rows of corn and beans grow in the dark soil, still glistening with dew from the cool night air. A wooden fence frames her little homestead, and a bucket rests by the well, still damp from the last draw of water. You feel the weight of the wooden bucket in your imagination, the rope creaking as it moves, and the splash of cool water in the barrel below, as if the sound itself is slowing your thoughts. The town is small, but alive in its own way, and you take in the details slowly, without hurry. The blacksmith's forge is cold now, but a faint smell of smoke and iron lingers. Horses shuffle in the corral, tails flicking lazily against the flies. A dusty trail leads out of town, winding between hills toward the wide prairie, promising new horizons for those who travel it. Everything in this world feels unrushed, soft and open, the perfect mirror for the calm you feel building in your own body. Your arms are heavy now, your hands warm and still, and your eyes may flutter with the pull of rest, even as the story continues to move at a gentle walking pace. The morning sun rises slowly over the endless prairie, casting long golden beams across the quiet frontier town. Its light brushes the edges of wooden buildings, warms the dirt street, and glitters softly against the dew clinging to tall swaying grass. You breathe in deeply, and the air carries the faint scent of dry earth, leather, and distant wood smoke. From your perspective, you step onto the dusty main street, your boots making the faintest crunch in the packed soil. The town is still, waking, wrapped in a calm that feels older than time itself. Only a single horse tied to a hitching post shifts its weight, and the jingle of its bridle echoes softly in the cool air. The two-way storytelling begins. From your listener POV, you run a hand along the rough wooden fence of the corral. The texture, it's dry and splintered, and you can almost feel the history in the wood, as though the land itself remembers every sunrise and quiet morning like this. Then the narrative slips into the life of Samuel, a ranch hand and your silent companion in this journey. Samuel wakes in his modest cabin, the soft light of dawn spilling across a simple wooden table and an iron kettle hanging by the stove. His morning begins in silence. He sits on the edge of his bed, listening to the wind sigh through the cracks in the walls. He pulls on his worn boots, shrugs into a faded shirt, and steps onto the porch, where the world greets him with stillness. The prairie stretches endlessly beyond his front yard, a rolling ocean of gold and green, whispering softly in the wind. From your perspective, walk alongside Samuel toward the corral, hearing the creak of the wooden gate as he opens it. Bay horse lifts its head, blinks sleepily, and snorts warm breath into the cool air. The sound is soft, steady, and grounding, a gentle anchor to the slow rhythm of frontier life. Samuel feeds the horse, tossing hay into the trough, and the quiet crunch of the animal chewing blends with the distant song of a meadowlark. Each sound lingers in the wide, empty air, and you find yourself breathing more slowly, your mind softening as the world narrows to this peaceful morning ritual. Beyond the corral, the prairie calls. The wind carries the sound of grass brushing against itself like a soft, endless sigh. You step into the tall grass with Samuel, feeling it brush against your legs in your imagination. And the warmth of the sun on your shoulders deepens the sense of calm. Every detail of the world feels alive, yet tranquil. The distant silhouette of a hawk circling high above the glint of sunlight off the river in the far valley. Slow bend of cottonwood trees swaying in the wind. This is not just a place in history, it is a living lullaby. A space where the slow pulse of the frontier syncs with the gentle rhythm of your own breath. From Samuel's POV, he walks the edge of town, checking the fence line and scanning the horizon for the day's quiet routines. There is no rush, no noise, only the measured pace of a life in tune with the land. He pauses to pick up a loose nail near the gate, turning it over in his fingers, then pockets it without a word. Continuing his silent morning ritual, the town begins to stir faintly. From your perspective, you hear the first soft noises of the day, the slow creak of a saloon sign swaying in the breeze, the muted thump of boots on a wooden porch, the faint echo of a hammer from the blacksmith's shop. None of these disturb the peace. They blend into the soft hum of life, and the slow cadence of the frontier seeps deeper into your mind, slowing your thoughts until they drift like clouds in a wide blue sky, as part one of our historical setup comes to a gentle pause. You stand at the edge of town with Samuel, watching the prairie stretch into infinity. A tumbleweed rolls lazily down the street, turning end over end. Its quiet journey, a mirror of your own slow drift into the calming rhythm of history. Your breathing is slow and even now, and every detail of the Wild West morning settles into your mind like soft sand in a clear stream, preparing you for the next part of your frontier journey. From Clara's perspective, the morning routine is steady and familiar. She feeds the chickens, scattering grain across the dusty yard as the birds cluck softly in thanks. She draws water from the well, the rope creaking rhythmically, and sets the bucket carefully beside her porch. These simple, repetitive motions are the heartbeat of frontier life, a soothing rhythm that mirrors your own breathing as you sink deeper into relaxation. For a moment, Clara pauses and looks toward the horizon. The prairie stretches endlessly, and a thin line of blue mountains rises faintly in the distance. Overhead, a hawk circles lazily, riding warm currents of air. The sight fills her with quiet strength, the same calm that seeps into you now, settling your mind into stillness. The Wild West, in this moment, is peaceful and slow, a landscape made for dreaming. The town continues to stir softly, but no sound is sharp, no movement rushed. It is history in its gentlest form, cradling you like the soft rocking of a wagon on a dusty trail, carrying you closer to sleep. The sun has climbed higher in the sky, spilling soft light over the quiet streets of the frontier town. The shadows of buildings stretch long and thin, and the wooden walls seem to glow warmly in the noonday sun. A gentle breeze carries the dry scent of hay and the faint aroma of freshly baked bread from somewhere down the street. And you breathe it in slowly, feeling it settle your body into a state of deep relaxation. From your perspective, you walk along the single dusty street, hearing your own footsteps merge with the faint sounds of life. The low murmur of a man speaking softly to his mule, the gentle clatter of a bucket against a well's wooden frame, the distant jingle of a cowbell. carried by the wind. Each sound comes and goes like a wave, rising in the still air and fading into quiet, guiding your mind toward a steady, calm rhythm. The story shifts gently to Samuel's POV, your quiet frontier guide. Samuel walks toward the general store, his boots leaving soft prints in the dust. He lifts a hand in greeting to the storekeeper, who leans against the doorframe with an easy smile, chewing on a piece of straw. They exchange a few quiet words about the weather and the cattle in the northern pasture. Nothing hurried, nothing heavy, just the calm, unbroken flow of life in the West. Inside the store, the air is cool and still, smelling faintly of wood, flour, and leather. The floorboards creak under each slow step, and light from the window falls across shelves of simple goods, glass jars filled with beans and sugar teens, of coffee stacked neatly, bolts of faded fabric leaning against the wall. Samuel selects a small sack of oats for his horse, and the storekeeper marks it in his ledger with an unhurried hand. The scratch of the pen soft and comforting in the quiet room. From your listener POV, you follow Samuel back outside, where the sunlight greets you warmly, sliding across your shoulders like a gentle blanket. Across the street, the blacksmith lifts his hammer and brings it down in a slow, steady rhythm on a glowing piece of iron. The ring of the hammer is not sharp or startling. It echoes through the town like a soft bell, resonating and then fading into stillness. Each pause between strikes is longer than the last, stretching time, encouraging your breath to follow its unhurried pace. Beyond the town, the open land calls once more. You follow Samuel as he leads his horse toward the edge of the prairie, the town slowly disappearing behind you. The trail winds past low shrubs and patches of dry grass, and the horizon stretches endlessly, a meeting of soft blue sky and golden earth. From your POV, you notice the small, intimate details that make the world feel alive. A grasshopper springs from the path and lands on a sun-warmed rock. Thin cloud passes over the sun, briefly cooling the air. A hawk glides in slow circles, its shadow sliding across the ground like a whisper. These tiny moments gather together like the threads of a lullaby, weaving a sense of peace that sinks into your mind and body. Samuel pauses at a small rise in the land, giving you a wide view of the valley below. A narrow river snakes through the prairie, its surface glittering like liquid glass in the sun. Cottonwood trees cluster near the water, their leaves trembling and whispering in the wind, a sound so soft and steady that it feels like the land itself is breathing. He rests a hand on the fence rail, silent and content, his eyes scanning the horizon with the unspoken patience of a man who lives by the rhythm of the earth. And you stand there too, feeling the same patience soak into your own mind, as if the land's unhurried heartbeat has become your own. As midday settles fully over the frontier, a deep calm sinks over the world. The sun warms your shoulders. The wind hums softly in your ears, and even the distant rustle of grass seems to move in time with your slow, even breath. From your listener POV, this moment stretches long and unbroken, and you feel your body growing heavy with comfort, your mind floating on the gentle rhythm of life in the Wild West. The sun now hangs high and warm above the prairie, and the soft blue sky seems endless, stretching in all directions without interruption. A thin veil of clouds drifts lazily across the horizon, and the wind moves like a whisper through the tall grass, creating a shimmering, rippling effect across the open land. From your perspective, you walk slowly alongside Samuel, your boots brushing against the dry earth, while the soft scent of sun-warmed grass rises with each step. The air carries hints of sage and dust, ancient and grounding, and your lungs fill with the calm of the frontier with every slow inhale. The afternoon in town is quiet. From your POV, you glance back to see the distant shapes of wooden buildings, the small saloon, the blacksmith's shop, and the general store, all basking in the golden haze of sunlight. Only occasional sounds reach your ears. The low creak of a windmill turning lazily in the breeze a faint rhythmic clink of metal from the blacksmith's forge, a muffled laugh or two carried from the saloon's porch. These gentle, familiar noises fade into the quiet like soft brushstrokes on a wide canvas, leaving the rest of the world perfectly still. The story drifts into Samuel's POV, carrying the listener deeper into the slow rhythm of his life. Samuel leads his horse toward the small river that winds behind the valley, knowing it's time to let the animal drink and rest in the shade. The river glimmers softly in the distance, and its surface reflects the sunlight in tiny, broken shards of gold. When he reaches the riverbank, he squats down slowly, dipping his fingers into the cool water, watching rings of ripples expand out across the calm current. For a moment, the entire world seems to pause. With him the wind eases, the birdsong softens, and time stretches long and unbroken. From your listener POV, you kneel by the river too, and in your mind's eye, the cool water touches your skin. You notice the soft reflection of clouds drifting across the surface, like moving dreams in the stillness of the day. A pair of dragonflies skim across the water, their wings glinting like tiny mirrors in the sunlight, and the slow, hypnotic hum of their movement deepens your sense of peace. Samuel settles beneath a cottonwood tree, leaning his back against the rough bark, and lets his hat slide down to cover his eyes. The leaves above him whisper gently, and strips of sunlight flicker across his shirt, warming and cooling with each passing cloud. He closes his eyes for a few slow breaths, and the land itself seems to hum a lullaby. From your perspective, you sit nearby, feeling the soft grass under your palms, hearing the wind thread through the tall stalks like distant ocean waves. Each breath you take becomes slower, deeper, and heavier, and your shoulders relax, as if the prairie has taken all the weight from your body. As the afternoon stretches on, the sounds of frontier life continue in the distance but remain hushed and unobtrusive. A cow lowing far across the valley, the soft clip of hooves on dirt from a lone rider passing by, the creak of leather as the horse adjusts its saddle, all of it flows together like a single, unbroken melody, steady and gentle, cradling you in the history of the Wild West. From Samuel's POV, he thinks about the small routines that fill his days: repairing the fence line, checking the creek, riding out to ensure no stray cattle have wandered off. There is no rush here, no need for haste, only the quiet companionship of the land and sky. He glances at you, his silent companion in this journey, and gives a slight nod, a wordless acknowledgement of the comfort found in these still moments. The afternoon sunlight softens, turning the grass to a deeper gold, and longer shadows begin to stretch across the ground. From your listener POV, this shift in light feels like the world is exhaling, preparing to settle into the slower pace of evening. You close your eyes for a brief moment, letting the warmth of the sun, the cool kiss of the breeze, and the soft lull of the river carry you deeper into this gentle historical dream. The sun begins its slow descent, and the sky softens to a pale amber, painting the horizon in shades of gold and rose. Long shadows stretch across the prairie, and the air cools gently, carrying with it the faint scent of evening dew settling over the grasses. From your perspective, you rise from the soft grass by the river, brushing your hands lightly against the blades, feeling the silkiness of the stalks as the day slips toward night. A soft breeze flows through the valley, lifting strands of your hair and carrying the gentle rustle of cottonwood leaves. You walk alongside Samuel, your quiet guide, as he leads his horse back toward town, the animal's hooves making soft, muted thumps against the dirt trail. The landscape around you is drenched in a warm glow, each detail calm and unhurried, the river glinting in the last light, grass bending and shimmering like golden silk. A single hawk perched on a fence post, silent and still. The frontier world feels both vast and intimate, welcoming and eternal. as if it has been waiting for this quiet moment all along. From Samuel's POV, he feels the rhythm of the day settling into his bones. The natural cadence of work and rest that guides every life on the edge of the Wild West. He pauses to check the sky, where thin clouds catch the last streaks of sunlight, turning soft shades of pink and lavender. He glances at you, his silent companion, and smiles faintly, as though to say, "This is the life out here, patient and steady." His horse exhales a long, slow breath, steam rising faintly in the cooling air. And you match the animal's rhythm without even thinking, your breathing becoming deep and effortless. The town comes into view again, bathed in the golden light of early evening. From your listener POV, it feels like stepping into a painting. The wooden storefronts glow as if lit from within. The saloon's windows reflect the colors of the sky. The soft creak of a swinging sign adds a slow, gentle cadence to the stillness. A few townsfolk move about quietly, finishing the last tasks of the day. A woman sweeps the front porch of the boarding house, the broom's bristles scratching softly against the wood. A man carries a lantern to the livery stable, its small flame flickering in the growing dusk. Each detail unfolds with perfect stillness, slowing the pace of your thoughts, easing your mind into a state of gentle drift. From Samuel's POV, he ties his horse at the hitching post and walks the length of the main street, boots soft on the packed dirt. He hears the clinking of dishes from the small cafe, the distant murmur of two men talking outside the saloon, and the faint jingle of a spurred boot far off in the alleyway. Nothing disturbs the peace of evening in this frontier town of Inn. The occasional noise is part of the soft, steady lullaby of life here. As night approaches, the first stars appear overhead, tiny sparks in a wide and endless sky. From your perspective, you tilt your head back, letting your eyes trace the fading streaks of sunlight, giving way to velvet blue. The air feels cooler, now wrapping around you like a soft blanket, slowing your heart and steadying your breath. The two-way storytelling continues as Samuel steps into the quiet stable to check on the animals one last time. He moves gently, without hurry, his hand brushing over a horse's flank. Feeling the warmth beneath its coat, hearing the soft rhythm of its breathing. From your POV, you stand just outside the stable door, breathing in the comforting smell of hay, leather, and earth, a scent that feels timeless and grounding. The town fully settles into evening now. Lamps are lit one by one, their glow spilling onto the dirt streets in small golden circles. The world narrows to light, shadow, and soft sound. The quiet creak of a rocking chair on a front porch, the gentle clop of a horse walking somewhere in the distance, the soft murmur of wind moving through the tall grass just outside town. Everything conspires to slow your thoughts and deepen your relaxation, as though the land itself is preparing you for the night ahead. Samuel leans against the fence near the edge of town, watching the last light fade over the prairie. He lets the silence linger, and you do the same, feeling its weight and comfort settle around you like a familiar quilt. The stars brighten above, one by one, a quiet promise of rest and safety. This evening tableau marks the close of Section 2. The historical world setup. You are now fully immersed in the Wild West, rooted in its gentle rhythm. Your mind slowed to match the steady pace of this frontier life. Soon, the narrative will carry you into the immersive journey of daily life. An exploration, but for now, the world is calm, and your breathing is slow and even as night fully settles over the peaceful town. The night in the frontier town passes in quiet peace, and as the first light of dawn creeps across the horizon, the world stirs gently. From your perspective, you stand at the edge of the prairie, watching the first soft streaks of sunlight break through the faded blue of the early morning sky. The air is crisp and cool, carrying the smell of dew settling on grass and the faint smoke of last night's campfires. A rooster crows somewhere in the distance, and the sound rolls through the still town like a calm wave, marking the slow beginning of another day on the frontier. From Samuel's POV, the day begins with ritual and simplicity. He rises with the sun, pulling on his worn boots and hat, and steps outside to greet the new day. His breath hangs in the cool morning air, and he stretches his arms slowly. Letting the soft light warm his face, he walks toward the stable where the horses nicker softly at the sound of his footsteps. Their breath rises like steam, and the gentle rustle of hay fills the quiet morning air. Samuel feeds them oats from a small bucket, moving unhurriedly. Each scoop and pour part of the quiet rhythm of life here. From your listener, POV. You follow him along the dirt path, feeling the ground cool under your boots. Hearing the distant echo of your own footsteps mixing with the sounds of waking animals. The town awakens. Slowly, a door creaks as someone opens a shop for the day. Soft thud of a broom sweeps across a wooden porch, low voice hums a tune. Carried briefly on the morning breeze, each detail is unhurried, flowing together like a soft lullaby, easing your mind into deeper calm. After the horses are tended, Samuel mounts up for a morning ride to check the land and nearby creek. From your perspective, you walk alongside the horse, watching the slow rise of the sun over the open prairie. The sky turns warmer. Shades of soft orange and gold bleeding across the horizon, and the land glows as if lit from within. The only sounds are the steady clip of hooves, the distant call of a meadowlark, and the faint rustle of the wind through the grass. As the pair of you move further from the town, the landscape opens wide, and you feel a quiet awe settle over your mind. Out here, the world feels timeless, free of rush or noise, inviting your thoughts to slow and drift like the clouds above. By mid-morning, Samuel guides the horse toward the small creek, where clear water winds gently between smooth stones. He dismounts, kneeling to check the bank, and trails his fingers along the cool water, sending out soft ripples that catch the sunlight like tiny shards of glass. From your listener POV, you crouch beside him, hearing the trickle of water, smelling the earthy scent of wet stone and wild grass, and feeling an almost meditative calm spread through your body. Samuel's routine on the frontier is simple, but full of small, grounding moments. He watches the land for any sign of movement. A pair of deer crossing far on the horizon, lone hawk circling overhead, the gentle sway of grass in the unbroken windall of it weaves a tapestry of stillness, a rhythm of life perfectly in tune with the slow, endless pace of the Wild West. From your POV, as you walk back toward town with Samuel, the world feels lighter and quieter, and your own footsteps match the steady rhythm of frontier life. The town is now awake, but still peaceful. A few children play near the edge of the street, their laughter soft and distant, while a wagon rolls by slowly, its wooden wheels humming gently over the packed earth. The smell of coffee and baking bread drifts from the small cafe, warming the air and your senses alike. This gentle immersion in daily life's wits, sounds, and scents deepens your calm, and your body feels heavier, ready to sink into the soft rhythm of this historical dream. Samuel heads toward the small market at the center of town, where traders and neighbors gather with quiet purpose. The market is simple, a few wooden stalls under the open sky, but it hums with the comforting rhythm of slow exchange. From your listener POV, you wander the stalls, a basket of apples, their skin dusty and warm from the sun sacks of flour stacked neatly, giving off a soft, earthy aroma. Handmade tools and bits of leather, their surfaces worn smooth by calloused hands. Each stall tells a quiet story of life on the edge of the West, where every item is earned, traded, and cherished in unhurried simplicity. As late morning slides into early afternoon, the market begins to thin, and the town settles into its familiar, slow heartbeat. Samuel tips his hat to a passing neighbor, exchanges a brief smile, and walks back toward his small cabin at the edge of town, the dust rising gently behind his boots. The scene lingers here, in the soft, golden light of the frontier morning, inviting the listener to breathe deeply, to feel the stillness and warmth of a life lived far from the noise of the modern world, and to drift a little further toward restful calm. The sun climbs higher into the sky, and the soft gold of morning slowly brightens into the gentle warmth of early afternoon. From your perspective, you step outside Samuel's cabin, feeling the sun on your shoulders and the faint heat radiating from the packed dirt road. The air smells of warm wood, earth, and the distant hint of baking bread drifting from the small cafe in town. You pause for a moment, listening to the sounds of life around you, each detail simple and grounding, a soft creak as the wind nudges, a signboard outside the saloon, the rhythmic tap of a hammer from the blacksmith's shop, faint rustle of prairie grass at the edge of town. Stirred by a passing breeze, the pace of the world remains slow, inviting your breath to match its unhurried rhythm, filling your chest with calm on every inhale, letting go of the last traces of tension with every exhale. From Samuel's POV, he decides to make his usual rounds through the outskirts of town. He walks with easy, deliberate steps, his boots making soft thuds against the dirt, his hat shielding his eyes from the bright sky. He passes the blacksmith's shop, pausing for a moment to watch the man lift his hammer and bring it down against glowing metal, a soft ring echoing through the still air. Even here, where strength and labor shape iron and steel, the pace is measured and unhurried, a dance of patience between man and metal. From your listener POV, you stop beside him, feeling the soft heat radiating from the forge, watching sparks drift like tiny fireflies in the sunlight, then fade into nothingness. The sight feels hypnotic, drawing your mind deeper into this quiet frontier rhythm. After leaving the blacksmith, Samuel wanders toward the open land beyond the last row of buildings, where the prairie begins again in its endless sweep of grass and sky. A small herd of cattle grazes nearby, their tails swishing lazily, and a single rider moves among them, his horse stepping carefully to guide the animals. From Samuel's POV, he lifts a hand in greeting to the cowboy, who tips his hat. In return, a silent exchange of acknowledgement between neighbors. Life here needs few words, each gesture quiet and understood. From your POV, you watch the cattle move slowly, their soft lowing blending with the whisper of wind in the grass, and your eyelids feel heavier, as though lulled by the natural rhythm of this simple, steady life. The afternoon unfolds gently, and Samuel decides to take the familiar trail that leads toward a nearby homestead. The path winds past a few scattered fences, their wood sun-bleached and warm to the touch, and you trail your fingers along one. As you walk, feeling the smooth ridges under your hand, in the distance, a field of corn sways softly, green leaves shifting with each light breeze, and the faint creak of a windmill carries across the open air. The windmill turns slowly, its motion steady and soothing, like a lullaby written into the land itself. From Samuel's POV, he stops at the homestead's gate, leaning on the fence for a moment, letting his eyes wander over the wide stretch of earth and sky. He thinks about how days here move in circles, sunrise to sunset, chore to chore, with nature's patience guiding every hour. From your listener POV, you step into the small yard of the homestead, noticing the soft crunch of dirt underfoot, the smell of freshly tilled soil, and the quiet cluck of a few hens pecking near the porch. A woman steps outside carrying a pail of water, nodding politely, her movements unhurried. Part of the endless loop of simple work and quiet reward. Each moment here feels timeless, woven into the gentle hum of frontier life, pulling you deeper into this historical dream where every sound, scent, and movement seems to wash your thoughts clean of hurry or noise as the sun tilts westward. The light softens slightly, casting longer shadows across the homestead and the open land beyond. Samuel leans against the fence, letting his hat rest back on his head, and closes his eyes briefly, soaking in the warmth and the quiet. From your POV, you find a spot on the porch step, letting your shoulders relax and your mind slow, watching. Dust swirl lazily in a beam of sunlight. The sounds of the afternoon form a lullaby, all their own, a soft breeze sighing through the cornfield, distant horse snorting, its tail swishing the gentle splash of water as a bucket is tipped into a trough. Sound stretches time, lengthening the moment, making the world feel softer, quieter, and entirely safe. By the time Samuel and you prepare to leave the homestead, the afternoon has fully settled into its slow, golden rhythm. The ride back toward town is gentle and unhurried, the trail bordered by grass that shimmers under the late sun, and the faint scent of wildflowers drifts up from the open prairie. From your listener POV, you walk beside the horse, feeling the warmth of the sun and the soft rise of wind, letting your mind drift freely with the pace of the journey. Each step feels like a heartbeat, steady and slow, aligning you perfectly with the life of the Wild West. The afternoon sun begins its slow drift toward the horizon, and the light takes on a honeyed glow, spilling across the wooden porches and dirt streets of the frontier town. From your perspective, you return along the quiet path with Samuel, watching. The long grass swayed gently as the breeze picks up for the evening. The air feels softer now, less warm, more gentle, filled with the faint scent of wild sage carried from the open prairie. The shadows of the buildings stretch longer, and the dust stirred by your boots rises in soft clouds before settling back onto the earth. You feel the rhythm of your steps slow even more, each movement deliberate, as though the entire world is sighing in contentment at the close of day. From Samuel's POV, he leads the horse back through the town's edge, his eyes scanning the horizon out of habit, checking for movement, for travelers, or for any sign of weather rolling in. But the sky is clear, a soft, pale blue fading toward gold, and only a hawk drifts overhead, its shadow gliding over the rooftops below. He feels the gentle weight of the day's work settling into his shoulders, a familiar comfort rather than a burden, and he glances at you walking beside him, quietly sharing the rhythm of the town's heartbeat. From your listener POV, you breathe in the slower air, letting your chest rise and fall with unhurried calm, allowing the landscape and sounds of the Wild West to guide you deeper into relaxation. As you approach the main street, the town is caught between the end of work and the quiet of evening. Doors stand open to let in the last warmth of the sun, and soft domestic sounds float out, the gentle clink of dishes being stacked in the cafe, the rhythmic squeak of a chair rocking on a porch, a low hum of someone singing a lullaby to a child inside a cabin. Samuel pauses near the general store, resting his hand on the hitching post, and you watch the soft dance of dust motes in the light. This moment is as still as a painting, the kind of quiet that belongs only to towns at the edge of the world, where every sound and shadow feels like a friend. From Samuel's POV, he steps into the store briefly, nodding to the shopkeeper, and collects a small bag of flour and a tin of coffee. The shop smells of wood, leather, and dried goods, a comforting blend that seems to settle into the air like an old memory. From your POV, you wander to a small window display, running your hand over a smooth tin cup, feeling its coolness and the tiny grooves where it has been hammered by hand. The sensation is grounding, tying you to this world of simple tools and patient days. By the time Samuel steps back onto the street, the shadows are longer and the first hints of evening color. The horizon, a deep, mellow orange, seeps into the sky, blending with the soft lavender of oncoming night. The wind carries the distant, lulling sound of a cow lowing from somewhere beyond the town, and a dog barks once before settling into silence. The walk back to his cabin is unhurried, boots thudding softly in the dirt, accompanied by the rhythmic jingle of the horse's bridle. From your POV, each sound seems to echo slightly in the still air, as though time itself is stretching to slow your thoughts. Once back at the cabin, Samuel places his supplies on the porch and settles into a chair, tipping it back just slightly as he gazes across the quiet land. He removes his hat and sets it on his knee, letting the cooling breeze touch his forehead. From your perspective, you sit on the edge of the porch, legs stretched out toward the dirt path, and feel the last warmth of the sun fade against your skin. The world seems wrapped in a soft hush, broken only by nature's slow chorus, the distant song of a meadowlark, the sigh of wind in the tall grass. Rhythmic creak of the porch as Samuel rocks slightly in his chair as the evening deepens. The sky becomes a vast canvas of soft violet and gold, and one by one, stars prick the horizon with silver light. Samuel lights a single lantern on the porch, its glow spilling in a small, warm circle around the steps, casting gentle shadows that sway with the breeze. From your listener POV, you watch the soft glow and let your eyes grow heavy, lulled by the simple ritual of the day giving way to night. The lantern's light flickers on the wood, a rhythm that feels almost like breathing slow, even reassuring. The day has folded into evening, and every sound, every sight, every small gesture of life in this frontier town seems designed to quiet the mind. Your body feels heavier, your breath steadier, as though the land itself is cradling you toward rest. This part of the journey brings the listener to the doorstep of night, fully immersed in the Wild West, ready for the calm reflection and soft transitions of the next part of the journey. The sky has shifted fully into twilight, a soft gradient of violet and deep blue stretching endlessly over the open land. From your perspective, you sit quietly on Samuel's porch, letting your body sink into the calm of the frontier evening. The lantern beside the door flickers gently, its light warm and golden against the weathered wood, while fireflies begin to appear in the tall grass, blinking like tiny floating embers. A cooler breeze drifts in from the prairie, carrying the scent of dry earth, distant sage, and the faint smoke of evening fires from the small town nearby. From Samuel's POV, he leans back in his chair, hands folded comfortably over his stomach, watching the world slow into night. His horse, now resting in the corral, stamps a hoof softly, and the soft creak of the wooden fence answers like an old lullaby. He listens to the sounds of the frontier. After dark, the chirp of crickets rising in steady rhythm, the lonely call of a coyote far out on the prairie, the gentle rustle of grass under the night wind. Each sound settles into the space between heartbeats, reminding him and you that the world is safe, simple, and still. From your listener POV, you notice your breathing has slowed to match the rhythm of the evening. Every inhale carries the scent of night and wood smoke, and every exhale releases the last remnants of tension. In the distance, the town itself glows softly in the dark, lanterns and oil lamps twinkling in a loose scatter along the street. A dog trots lazily down the path, pausing to sniff at the edge of a barrel before curling up near a porch. The night belongs to small, slow moments, and each one eases you closer to a deep, drifting calm. Samuel stands and stretches his silhouette, outlined against the lantern's glow, and decides to take one last slow walk to the edge of the property. You follow at your own relaxed pace, your boots pressing softly into the dirt, each step matching the rhythm of the night. The stars above multiply with every passing minute, spilling across the sky like scattered silver dust. Out here, far from the noise of cities, the heavens feel vast and endless, a quiet reminder of time's slow passage. From Samuel's POV, he pauses at the fence line, resting his hands on the smooth wood, and gazes out at the darkened prairie. The moon begins to rise, casting a soft glow over the open grassland, turning the world to a muted painting of silver and shadow. From your POV, you lift your head to follow the arc of the sky, feeling the serenity of this untouched world settle deep into your chest like a soft blanket wrapping around your thoughts. The walk back to the cabin is even slower than the walk out, a journey of stillness rather than distance. Crickets hum all around. A night bird calls once, then disappears into the vastness. And the sound of your own quiet footsteps joins the lullaby of the land. When you return to the porch, the lantern still burns low, casting shadows that sway. Gently against the logs of the cabin, Samuel settles back into his chair, hat tilted low, while you rest on the step once more. Your body heavier than before, your mind floating in the gentle rhythm of the frontier night. The town is now fully quiet, its heartbeat slowed to a gentle whisper. From your listener POV, you watch the final movements of the day fade away. A single door closes softly in the distance. The glow of a lantern is dimmed behind a window curtain. The wind settles briefly, leaving the land in perfect silence. This silence is not empty, is full of presence, like the land itself is keeping you company. It is soothing and grounding, an invitation to let go and drift wherever the night carries you. Samuel takes a slow sip from a tin cup of water, then sets it aside with care and leans back against the wall of the cabin. He breathes in the cool air deeply, as though drawing the peace of the prairie into his chest, and exhales with a long, contented sigh. From your POV, you close your eyes briefly, listening to the same soft world he hears the night, the insects, the faint creak of the porch, and the distant lull of the frontier breathing in its sleep. This moment stretches. Timeless, a perfect close to a day lived in harmony with the land. By the time the last light of the lantern begins to wane, you feel yourself swaying gently in the rhythm of the night, your mind slower, your body heavier, ready for the deep reflection and soft transitions that will come next. This completes the immersive journey, carrying the listener fully into the heart of frontier life, wrapped in the calm of the Wild West night. The night has now fully settled over the Wild West town, bringing with it a calm that feels as deep as the sky above. From your perspective, you step softly from Samuel's porch, letting the cool evening air wash over your skin. The lantern flickers gently in the soft wind, casting golden shadows across the dirt road, while the first full sweep of stars fills the heavens. Out here, far from the noise of cities or trains, the sky seems impossibly wide. A dark velvet canvas sprinkled with brilliant silver points of light. From your listener POV, you inhale slowly, taking in the sense of the quiet, night-dry earth, faint wood smoke, and a whisper of sage carried by the breeze. Each breath feels slower and heavier, drawing you deeper into this world of peaceful isolation. From Samuel's POV, he walks toward the edge of town, his boots softly scuffing the dirt road, the rhythm unhurried as though the land itself sets the pace. He knows these streets well, each creak of wood and rustle of wind a familiar companion. He passes the saloon, now dim and hushed, its door swinging lightly on its hinges, letting out the faintest murmur of voices and a single soft piano note. This is no rowdy night, just a gentle end to a long day. The kind of evening where the world exhales and drifts into stillness. From your POV, you pause outside the saloon, peeking through the doorway in your imagination. Inside, a single lantern hangs above the bar, its light pooling over smooth wood, and two men play a quiet game of cards, their voices barely rising above the whisper of the breeze outside. This tiny glimpse of life slow, quiet, undisturbed feels like a scene trapped in amber, a moment that will linger long after you close your eyes. Leaving the town behind, Samuel leads you toward the river that winds through the nearby prairie. The path is soft beneath your feet, lined with low grass that rustles under the touch of the night wind. From your listener POV, you hear the first trickle of water before you see it, a gentle, meandering sound that blends perfectly with the hum of crickets. The river is narrow here, its surface smooth and reflective, catching the silver of the moon and the glow of the first stars. Samuel sits on a large, flat rock near the bank, gesturing for you to join him, and the two of you watch the river drift by in silence. A frog croaks softly from somewhere along the shore, and a night bird dips low to skim the surface before vanishing back into the dark. From your POV, the water's movement feels hypnotic, like a lullaby written into the land, inviting your thoughts to drift the way the current drifts slow, unbothered, free. As the night deepens, Samuel shares a quiet thought, his voice low and warm. When I was a boy, my father used to bring me to this river. He said if you listened closely enough, you could hear the land telling its story. Not in words, but in whispers. From your perspective, you lean closer to the soft sound of water and wind, as though you might catch a secret from the past. Perhaps it is the whisper of wagons that once crossed these plains, or the echo of boots that walked these very paths long before this evening. In this moment of stillness, history and nature blend into a single, endless breath, wrapping around your mind and body like a gentle quilt. Samuel eventually rises, dusting off his hands, and begins a slow walk along the riverbank. The moon climbs higher, casting silver light over the open prairie, and the shadows of grass stretch long and thin across the ground. From your POV, each step along the river feels slower than the last, as though the world itself is encouraging you to rest. You notice the cool air against your skin, the soft chorus of insects, and the occasional plop of a fish breaking the river's surface. The journey becomes a meditation, a slow unraveling of thoughts, each sound, scent, and sight helping you release another layer of wakefulness. By the time you and Samuel reach a gentle bend in the river, the sky is a masterpiece of stars, more than you could ever count, spilling in an arc of light from one horizon to the other. From Samuel's POV, he rests a hand on the wooden post of an old fence line, gazing up at the night sky with quiet reverence. He recalls how travelers and settlers once used the stars to navigate, finding their way across the vast frontier guided only by these distant fires in the heavens. From your listener POV, you lift your head to follow his gaze, letting the stars fill your vision, allowing the weight of history and time to dissolve into the vastness of night. The walk back toward the cabin is even slower than before, each step stretching into a soft, lingering moment, as if the land itself wants you to carry this peace with you. By the time you return to the porch, the lantern is still glowing, a soft beacon of safety and warmth against the endless prairie dark. Samuel sits once again, his movements quiet and deliberate, and you follow suit, letting the rhythm of the night settle deep in your bones. This first part of the gentle transition has carried you from the hush of the frontier town into the deep calm of nature's nighttime symphony, perfectly setting the stage for the extended night journey and sleep-inducing stargazing in the next part. The night deepens, and the frontier town has drifted into a hush that feels timeless. From your perspective, you remain seated on the porch beside Samuel, watching the river of stars flow above you. The lantern flickers beside the cabin wall, its golden circle of light, small but comforting against the endless dark. Beyond this glow, the prairie stretches wide, a gentle sea of shadows and silvered grass, moving softly under the cool night wind. From your listener POV, you breathe in slowly, feeling the coolness of the air fill your chest, and let it out even more slowly, as though your exhale carries away the last threads of wakefulness. Samuel leans forward, elbows on his knees, and points toward a cluster of stars in the eastern sky. You see that one? Travelers used to call it the guide star out here. They said as long as they could see it, they'd never lose their way. From your perspective, you tilt your head back, following the line of his finger. The star glimmers against the dark, small, yet certain. and the story it carries makes the night feel alive with history. He continues softly, his voice like a warm thread weaving through the quiet. When the wagons came through, some nights were so still you could hear the wheels creak for miles. And on the wind, they said you could almost hear the land itself welcome them. His words fade into the hum of insects and the gentle creak of the porch. This soft sharing of memory and land is as soothing as a lullaby, a story that stretches back through time to cradle your thoughts in gentle nostalgia. Eventually, Samuel stands and gestures for a short walk, and you follow him onto the narrow path leading toward the open prairie behind the cabin. From your POV, the ground feels soft beneath your boots, and the air is rich with the scent of dew beginning to settle on the grass. Every step is unhurried, each sound clear in the stillness of the night. The soft crunch of dirt and grass underfoot, the whisper of the wind through sparse trees, the distant haunting call of a night bird. The path opens to a small clearing, and from here the sky seems impossibly wide, a grand dome filled with constellations. From Samuel's POV, he pauses and tips his hat back, gazing up at the stars as if greeting old friends. He recalls a time when the night sky was the only map, a compass for travelers and a companion for those living on the edge of the frontier. My grandfather used to say the stars could tell you everything if you just learned to listen, he murmurs. Weather, the turning of seasons, even when it was time to head home. From your listener POV, you absorb the story like the soft glow of starlight, feeling each word settle over your thoughts like a calm blanket. A light wind ripples the grass, and the sound is as gentle as a whispered goodnight. The prairie carries a music of its own, one made of space and stillness, and you let your mind drift with it. Thoughts slowing, body heavy with comfort. The two of you sit in the clearing, Samuel leaning back on his hands, you reclining slightly to take in the endless sky. Time stretches and softens here, each minute a long, easy exhale of the earth. From your POV, the stars begin to blur slightly as your eyelids grow heavier, not with sleep yet, but with the deep relaxation that leads to it. Samuel breaks the soft silence only to share one last anecdote. Folks used to leave lanterns in their windows back in the early days, so travelers could find their way. Out here, with no street lamps, just the night and the sky, one little light could mean safety, warmth, and a place to rest. From your perspective, the idea of a single glowing light in the vast darkness fills you with a deep sense of calm, like the lantern on Samuel's porch. It anchors you to safety, to the quiet certainty that all is well in this moment. As the night continues, the prairie hums its lullaby. The wind brushes softly against your hair. Your shoulders relax fully, and every sound becomes a gentle echo. In your mind, when Samuel finally rises and leads the way back to the cabin, the lantern glow is a small golden promise in the distance. The walk is slow, dreamlike, each step a soft ascent into the rhythm of the land and the calm of the night. From your listener POV, the moment you step back onto the porch, it feels like returning to a safe harbor. Your thoughts quieter than ever, your body ready for deepening rest. The porch creaks softly as Samuel lowers himself into the chair once again, and you take a place beside him, letting your body sink into its own easy rhythm. The lantern glows warmly, its light trembling with the soft wind, while beyond its reach, the prairie stretches into a sea of night, silent and vast. From your listener POV, you notice your breaths are longer now, your shoulders heavy, your mind floating gently between this world and the world of dreams. Samuel reaches down and stirs the coals in a small fire pit, sending a brief flare of orange sparks into the darkness. They rise like tiny fireflies, dancing up toward the stars before fading into the cool night air. Fire was life out here, he says in a soft, storytelling tone. Not just warmth. It kept the coyotes away. Let a neighbor know you were home. and it gave a man something to look at when the night felt too big. From your perspective, you watch the flames lick upward, your gaze following the curve of the embers until they disappear into the starry sky. This simple act feels hypnotic, your thoughts moving as lazily as the smoke curling into the dark. A gentle wind rustles the grass, and the sound blends with the low hiss of the fire, creating a natural lullaby. The air is cool against your skin, soft as a quilt draped over the land. Samuel leans back in his chair, hat tipped low, and tells another small memory in that slow, low voice meant for quiet nights. I remember the first time I stayed out past dark on the range. Just me, my horse, and the night. I thought the quiet would make me lonely. But instead, it felt like the land was watching over me, like the stars themselves were keeping me company. From your listener POV, the story folds over you like a blanket, each word another soft weight drawing you deeper into rest. The fire crackles, a piece of wood giving a gentle pop, and the scent of warm pine smoke drifts in the air. Somewhere far off, a coyote calls, its sound a lonely thread through the night, answered faintly by another across the prairie. This sound does not disturb you, it belongs to the world here, a soft part of the land's nocturnal music. You close your eyes briefly, listening to this natural symphony, the hush of wind moving through the grass, the distant voice of a coyote, fading into silence, the soft murmur of the fire beside you. Every note in this nighttime song carries you closer to the gentle edge of sleep. From Samuel's POV, he glances at you with a faint, contented smile, recognizing the familiar heaviness of a day well spent on the frontier. He knows this rhythm, this quiet drift into the kind of rest the land itself seems to offer. He sips from his tin cup, sets it down with care, and lets the silence linger, understanding that words are no longer necessary for the calm to deepen. A soft memory surfaces, shared in his near whisper. There was a time folks would sit like this outside every cabin, every homestead. No one needed to speak much, just the sound of the night and the stars to remind us how small we are, and how safe we can feel in that smallness. From your perspective, the reflection is comforting, a reminder that life can be simple, steady, and warm. Free from the weight of urgency or noise, the fire dies lower, settling into glowing coals that pulse like the heartbeat of the night. The lantern flickers, its flame bowing gently to the soft prairie wind, and the deep stillness of the Wild West wraps around you. Your breathing slows to match the rhythm of the fire's glow, and every exhale feels like it carries away a layer of wakefulness. From your listener POV, your mind drifts to the stars once more. They seem brighter now, as if the world has grown quieter to make room for their light. You follow the arc of the Milky Way, letting its soft shine blur as your eyelids lower and lift in slow, heavy movements. The sounds of the prairie, the memory of Samuel's stories, and the warm flicker of the coals combine into a soft current of calm, carrying you deeper into the state where sleep waits patiently at the edges of thought. By the time Samuel stands to gently stoke the coals one last time, the world feels very far away, like a painting fading to softer and softer hues. He turns to you and nods toward the stars, his voice almost a murmur. Nights like this, they stay with you, even in your dreams. From your listener POV, the words float in your mind like a feather, light, unhurried, and perfectly at home in the quiet of the night. The fire has burned down to glowing embers, and the lantern casts a soft golden halo on the porch, leaving most of the world in cool, tender darkness. From your listener POV, you feel the weight of your body sinking into the wooden chair, the edges of the world softening, sounds and sights blending into a gentle hum of night. The wind is lighter now, barely brushing the tops of the prairie grass, and the distant call of a coyote has faded into memory, leaving only the slow, steady whisper of the land itself. Samuel sits quietly, hat tipped low, eyes reflecting the soft glow of the coals. After a long, comfortable silence, he speaks in a tone that barely rises above the whisper of the wind. There's a peace in this land that can't be written down, only felt. Nights like these. They've been the same for longer than we've been here. From your perspective, the words settle like warm sand across your thoughts, each syllable softening the world, inviting your mind to drift a little further. Into stillness, a shooting star slips across the sky, quick and silent, and you follow it with your eyes, feeling as though it carries away the last thread of your wakefulness. Samuel notices your heavy gaze, and his voice slows even more, the pace matching the gentle rhythm of the night. Folks used to make a wish on stars like that. Out here, it wasn't for riches or anything fancy, just safe travels, good weather, and a warm fire when the day was done. From your listener POV, the idea of such simple wishes feels comforting, like the world has been stripped down to only the things that matter most: safety, warmth, and the soft embrace of sleep. The porch creaks softly as you shift just enough to lean your head back, eyes half closed, watching the lantern light tremble in your blurred vision. You feel the gentle sway of the chair beneath you, and in your mind, it almost becomes the rocking of a wagon or the slow rhythm of a riverboat drifting downstream. This imagined movement is soothing, rocking your thoughts gently back and forth. Further into the soft current of rest, Samuel leans forward to stir the coals one final time, and the embers flare briefly, painting the night with fleeting warmth before settling into a dim, pulsing glow. "Fire's about done," he murmurs softly. "But it's all right. Night will keep us company." From your perspective, the words feel like a lullaby, reminding you that even as light fades, safety and calm remain all around you. The sounds of the night grow even more subtle, now a whisper of wind, the faint chirp of a single cricket, the soft creak of wood as the porch settles. From your listener POV, these tiny sounds blend together, a natural, endless rhythm, like the heartbeat of the Wild West itself, steady and soothing in the background of your drifting thoughts. Samuel rests his elbows on his knees, voice low and slow. You can almost hear the land breathe if you're quiet enough. Folks used to say the prairie talks to you at night, not in words, but in the way the wind moves and the grass sways. From your perspective, you focus on that subtle swaying, imagining the grass moving in slow, even waves, like the whole world is rocking you gently toward sleep. The sky feels impossibly wide now, a soft black ocean above, stars like lanterns, hung by a careful, patient hand. You let your eyes drift closed for a moment, and the stars remain behind your eyelids, tiny points of imagined light slowly fading into a calm darkness. From your listener POV, your breathing has matched the rhythm of the night, slow and heavy, each exhale loosening your body further into the chair. Samuel sighs softly, a sound of contentment that seems to echo through the stillness. This land has a way of holding you, even in dreams. His voice drifts across the night air, carrying the weight of history and the comfort of quiet company. It's a perfect sound to guide you to the edge of sleep. As the lantern flame bows and flickers, and the coals pulse their last faint orange, the prairie wraps itself around you like a blanket. From your perspective, the world has slowed to a hush and your mind floats freely, half in the Wild West, half in the calm promise of dreams. Every breath, every faint sound, every memory of starlight is another step down the soft path toward sleep. This final part of Section 4 gently bridges the waking journey of the frontier night into the first threads of sleep, setting up Section 5's slow wind down and meditative historical reflection. The prairie night holds you gently, And the Wild West feels like it is slowed to a heartbeat, steady and sure. From your listener POV. The lantern's light has dimmed, and the fire has quieted to a soft glow, leaving long shadows to stretch. Across the porch, the air is cool, brushing lightly against your face, and carries with it a scent of dry grass and fading smoke. Every breath you take feels slower, heavier, and more peaceful than the last. Samuel's voice rises after a long, thoughtful pause. So slow and soft, it feels as though the night itself is speaking. You know? When folks came out here, they thought they were building something that would last forever. A town, a family, a piece of the world they could call their own. From your perspective, you can almost picture the wagons arriving, dust rising in the sunlit air, families stepping down onto the raw earth of the frontier. Samuel continues, his tone calm and reflective. Some stayed, some moved on, and some, well, they just became a part of the land itself. You can walk for miles out here and feel like you're stepping in the footsteps of folks long gone. The night feels like it holds those echoes, soft as whispers in the grass, never disturbing the peace, only adding to its depth. From your listener POV. The image of these long-gone travelers drifts through your thoughts, gentle and hazy, like watching old photographs fade into sepia and then to mist. You imagine the streets of a small frontier town under the same sky. Horses tied along wooden rails, lamplight glowing from saloon windows, laughter carrying lightly on the night air. But now, as Samuel softly reminds, those same streets are silent. Only the prairie wind wandering through them, telling the stories of the past in a language only the land remembers. He leans back, his chair creaking quietly, and after a long pause, he speaks again in measured lullaby tones. I sometimes wonder what they'd think. They could see it now. Empty land, quiet skies, the same stars that watched over them still watching over us. From your perspective, the thought is both humbling and comforting, reminding you that time moves softly here, and that even in silence, the world holds the memory of every life that touched it. The sky feels wider with this reflection, as though the stars themselves lean closer to listen. Their light steady and old, patient as sleep itself. Your eyes grow heavier, blinking more slowly now, and each blink feels like a soft curtain lowering over the world. The sounds of the night seem distant, as if the prairie has softened its voice to let you drift, and the warmth of nostalgia mixes with the comfort of deepening drowsiness. You realize, in this quiet moment of reflection, that the Wild West lives not just in history, but in the feeling it leaves behind, a wide, endless calm that invites you to rest, to dream, and to become part of its story in the stillness of the night. The night has fully settled over the prairie, and time feels as though it is stretched thin, long and unhurried. From your listener POV. The weight of the day has slipped away, and each breath feels slower, heavier, as if you're breathing in the quiet history of the land itself. Samuel's voice rises again, soft and reflective, his words spaced by gentle pauses. Out here, time don't move the way it does in a city. Out here, it's like the land decides the pace. Days follow the sun, nights follow the stars, and folks, well, they just follow both. You imagine the settlers' families, ranchers, cowboys there, lives rising and falling with the same natural rhythm, sleeping under these very stars after long days of work and travel. The thought is soothing, your mind drifting through images of a simpler, quieter world, one where every sound had meaning, and silence was a friend instead of a stranger. Samuel leans forward slightly, voice lowering as if sharing a secret meant only for this moment in the night. Sometimes I ride past the old homesteads. Just a few boards left, maybe a piece of a fence. Folks long gone. But when the wind comes through the grass just right, it feels like they're still here somehow. From your perspective, This image drifts into your mind like a gentle, dream-weathered wooden beams, touched by moonlight, surrounded by endless grass swaying in the breeze. It's not lonely, but peaceful, as if the land has promised to keep these memories safe. The longer you listen, the more the night seems to hum around you. A soft, living silence that fills the air without ever breaking it. You let your eyes drift half-closed, blinking slowly, and the world tilts into a gentle blur, lantern light and starlight merging into one warm, golden haze. Samuel continues his reflection, his voice the only tether holding you lightly to wakefulness. Life out here was hard. Folks worked sunup to sundown. Some didn't make it. But even the hard days had something special to him, a kind of honesty. You knew the land might take everything, and still folks stayed. The porch creaks again in the quiet, and the last of the coals glows faintly, a single pulse of orange in the sea of night. From your perspective, the light feels like a beacon in memory, like the hearths of those old frontier cabins that once dotted the prairie, each one a tiny island of warmth in an endless dark. This image lingers softly, like the beginning of a dream, pulling you a little further from wakefulness with each slow breath. The air is cool and still now, and even the crickets seem to have quieted, leaving only the hush of the land. You feel the rhythm of the night carrying you, as if the prairie itself has become a cradle, rocking you with its long, slow heartbeat. Samuel whispers finally, words meant to float rather than land. The land remembers. Even if no one else does, the land always remembers. The weight of this reflection is soft and soothing, a final thread tying you to the quiet legacy of the frontier. Before dreams take you fully into their care, the night has grown deeper, and the stars hang steady above the endless prairie, like old lanterns left in the sky by those who came before. From your listener, POV. The silence is soft and complete, carrying only the faint whisper of the breeze as it moves through the grass. Every sound is distant now, as if the world is slowly folding itself into a soft, protective quilt around you. Samuel's voice emerges after a long pause, low and slow, like it's drifting from another time. If you listen long enough, you can almost hear the stories this land could tell. Not with words, but with wind and the creak of old wood and the soft splash of a horse crossing a shallow stream. From your perspective, the images come in a hazy flow, half history, half dream. A rider moving quietly under a silver Mona lantern swaying gently on a cabin porch, smoke rising from a chimney into the crisp, starlit air. These memories of the past feel safe, like echoes meant to guide you toward rest rather than keep you awake. The longer you sit, the heavier your body feels, each limb sinking deeper into the calm of the night. You realize your breathing has slowed, each inhale deep and steady, each exhale a soft release, carrying away the last bits of the day. The prairie has become a cradle, the stars a gentle canopy, and the wooden porch beneath you a bridge between wakefulness and dream. Samuel leans his head back, looking at the sky, and speaks in a soft murmur. All the laughter, all the work, all the music from the saloons, it all faded, but it didn't vanish. It's here. Somewhere in the quiet, the land remembers everything. The past doesn't feel far away anymore. It feels close, like a gentle hand resting over your own as you slip further into drowsiness. Your eyes close without thinking now, and the images become softer, dreamlike horses moving slowly across golden field sunlight catching the dust of a deserted street, a soft piano playing somewhere. Faint and far away, these scenes flow like ripples across your mind. Quiet, unhurried, and warm, letting you drift even further into the comfort of the night. Samuel's voice is almost part of the wind now, fading in and out like a memory. Funny thing about this land, it never rushes. It waits. And if you sit long enough, It'll let you feel like you're part of it, like maybe you've been here all along. From your perspective, this reflection feels like a final soft weight, settling gently over your thoughts, inviting you to let go completely. The stars overhead blur behind your closed eyelids, and the last thing you notice is the faint glow of the coals. Like the heartbeat of the prairie itself, steady, slow, and endlessly calm. The night is nearly still now, its calm wrapping the prairie like a soft blanket, and you can feel the edges of the world blur into gentle darkness. Samuel's voice rises after a long, thoughtful pause, barely more than a whisper. It's strange to think how many lives passed through here. All chasing something, a dream, a home, maybe just a place to lay their head, and the land. It gave and it took, but it always held them in the end. You picture the old wagon trails now, silvered by moonlight, stretching to the horizon, empty, but still alive in memory. From your perspective, the thought of those quiet journeys feels like a lullaby, a rhythm as soft as the rocking of a cradle. Your mind drifts to scenes of long ago nights, a single cabin, glowing under the stars. Cowboy humming low by the fire, the faint creak of a windmill. Turning in the dark, these images move slowly, fading. In and out, each one softer than the last, guiding your thoughts closer to the warmth of dreams. Samuel leans forward slightly, his voice gentle and warm. There was a kind of courage out here, but not the loud kind, just the quiet kind that wakes up every morning and keeps going. That's the kind the land remembers most. The words settle like soft sand over your thoughts, each one quieter than the last, inviting your mind to drift further into calm. The coals of the fire are nearly gone now, just faint red specks in the ash, pulsing softly like the last memories of the day. Your eyes close without effort, and your body feels as though it is part of the porch, the land, the night itself. You can almost hear the land breathe, a soft rhythm carrying you into deeper rest. Every exhale loosening the last threads of wakefulness. Samuel speaks one final reflection for the night. His voice soft as wind over the grass. Someday, even my story will be part of this land. And that's all right. Because out here, nothing is ever really gone. It all just settles into the quiet. The words drift into silence, leaving only the soft symphony of night. A song of crickets, wind, and distant stars, each note a gentle pull toward sleep. The Wild West has become a memory in your mind, a soft, golden story that lingers even as dreams begin to rise and carry you away. The night has reached its quietest hour, a time when the world seems to hold its breath, and all that remains is the soft rhythm of life moving slowly across the prairie. Your breathing is slow now. Each inhale deep and smooth, each exhale soft, and releasing, like the land itself is teaching you how to rest. Samuel's voice is quieter than ever, measured and soft, each word floating like a feather. Nights like this always make me think about how everything leaves its mark, even the quietest lives. They leave a story behind, whispered to the wind. The words settle into you, warm and grounding, making you feel as if the story of the Wild West is flowing into your own dreams. You picture the faint outlines of the old frontier wagon wheels worn smooth by time cabins reduced to memories and starlight. Endless sea of grass, holding them gently in its sway from your perspective. It feels as though you are walking through these memories one last time, but now your footsteps are silent, soft as clouds, weightless as sleep. Every image is hazy and comforting, like an old painting blurred at the edges, fading in and out with the rhythm of your breath. Samuel leans back slowly in his chair, and the wood creaks softly in the stillness, a sound that feels like part of the land itself. He pauses for a long while before speaking again, his voice gentle, barely above a whisper. This land has seen so much, and it'll see more after I'm gone. But tonight, all it asks of us is to listen and to rest. The words stretch out like the horizon itself, leaving space for silence, inviting your mind to follow their slow, steady rhythm. You let the last sounds of the prairie wash over you, the faint sigh of wind moving through the grass, a distant coyote's call. Soft and far away, the subtle pulse of the land's quiet heart's each sound feels like a lullaby, blending into a soothing hum that fills the spaces between thoughts. Samuel whispers a final reflection, voice low and tender. The West. It never really leaves you. Even in sleep, it's there, quiet as the stars, gentle as the wind. The words drift into silence, and the porch, the prairie, and the night all feel like one soft, endless space, holding you in the calm of history. And memory, from your perspective, sleep is no longer a step away. It's already here, woven into the fabric of the night, ready to carry you into dreams as wide and peaceful as the prairie sky. The journey through the Wild West has ended, and the world of memory and history drifts softly into the distance. The journey is complete. Samuel's voice is now only a whisper, slow and soothing. The prairies and the quiet streets have given their stories, and now they fade, gently, into dreams. You breathe in slowly, letting the last of the cool, starlit air fill your lungs, and exhale softly, feeling any remaining tension slip away with the night breeze. The landscape of the Wild West is now part of your inner world, the golden fields stretching forever, the quiet streets under the moon, the soft creak of the wooden porch beneath the stars. Each image floats away like a lantern on the wind, carrying your thoughts into deep, unbroken sleep. You are safe. Samuel's voice hums in the background of your mind. The long day is over. The night is yours now, and peace is all around you. The words repeat softly, layering calm over your thoughts, inviting your body to sink heavier into the soft cradle of your bed, as if the prairie itself is holding you gently in its arms. From your listener POV, your breathing and the rhythm of the night are one. The stars blur into dreams, the sounds fade, and only the warm, slow comfort of sleep remains, carrying you farther with each exhale. Let go, drift, and rest. The voice says, tonight, the Wild West is yours. And in your dreams, the land will keep you safe. The words stretch into the soft silence, becoming lighter and slower, until they are almost part of the night itself. The world of the Wild West now drifts like a memory behind your closed eyes. The dusty street, the wooden porch, and the endless golden prairie all soften at the edges, blending with the rhythm of your slow, steady breathing. It is as if the frontier itself is fading into the quiet warmth of your thoughts, leaving only calm and peace. The day is done. Samuel's voice drifts like a warm breeze across tall grass. The horses are at rest. The lanterns are out. And the night belongs to you. Each word falls gently into your mind like a feather, lighter than the last, settling in a way that carries you further into the depths of rest. You picture the final traces of the frontier, dissolving into the night, the soft glow of a cabin window, flickering one last time, the faint creak of a rocking chair on the porch, and the patient whisper of wind moving across the empty prairie. Slowly, each of these images drifts further and further away, as if they are lanterns floating into the horizon, leaving behind only the warm embrace of darkness. You are safe. The soft voice reminds you. Your body is heavy. Your mind is light, and the night will hold you. With each slow inhale, your chest rises softly, and with each gentle exhale, you let go of the final threads of wakefulness. The weight of the day slips from you as naturally as a leaf falling from a tree. Effortless and quiet. Above you, the stars no longer feel distant. They are inside you now, forming a soft, sparkling canopy behind your closed eyes, inviting you to drift deeper into a sky of dreams. Breathe. And let go, the voice whispers. Sleep is already here, warm and endless. In this moment, you feel weightless, as if floating in a space where history and dreams intertwine. The prairie, the wooden porch, the quiet. Starlit sky, they all hum gently in your memory as they carry you to the very edge of deep, unbroken sleep. Silence stretches longer between each breath, and the pauses between Samuel's words become softer and slower until the story itself seems to melt into the gentle rhythm of your own peaceful breathing. The Wild West is now only a soft whisper in your mind, distant and comforting. The wooden porch beneath you has dissolved into the gentle cradle of your bed, and the wide prairie has become the soft expanse of your imagination. The cool night air that once brushed your face is now the steady rhythm of your own slow breathing, and each inhale feels like drawing in calm, while each exhale releases the last traces of the waking world. Samuel's voice drifts to you as though from a memory, quieter than ever, carried on the same soft wind that moved through the tall grass hours ago. Rest now, he murmurs. The long day is over. The land is quiet, and sleep is yours. His words are not just heard, they are felt, settling like warm sand across your thoughts. Filling the small spaces with calm, you see the final images of the frontier fade, hazy and golden at the edges, like dreams already forming. A single lantern glows in the distance, rocking gently in the night wind before blinking out. The silhouettes of horses graze far across the prairie, their heads bowed in rest. And the stars above, patient and timeless, seem to lean closer, as though to watch over your dreams. Your breathing falls into perfect harmony with the silence around you. Each inhale fills your chest with warmth and ease. Each exhale melts the last tension from your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Your legs feel heavy and safe, as if sinking softly into the earth. With every breath, you drift a little further into the quiet rhythm of night, as if the land itself is lulling you to sleep. The voice comes one last time, a gentle whisper, soft and slow, almost part of the wind itself. You are safe. You are calm. And sleep is here. The words stretch out like the horizon, and then fade into the deep stillness of the night. The memory of the Wild West settles into your dreams, leaving you in a cocoon of peace, surrounded by darkness that is warm, quiet, and endless. And now, there is nothing left to do. The story has become a dream. The prairie has become the sky. The night holds you fully, and sleep carries you deeper, softer, farther than before, into a quiet that feels infinite and kind. The world is entirely still now. The wooden porch, the quiet street, and the vast prairie have melted away into the soft darkness of your dreams. All that remains is the gentle weight of your body sinking into rest, supported and safe, surrounded by silence as wide and comforting as the endless frontier. Your breath is slow and even, a quiet rhythm that feels like the heartbeat of the land itself. Samuel's voice drifts in one last time, faint and soothing, as though it is coming from the distance of memory. Sleep now, he whispers. The journey is over. The land is quiet, and all is well. His words hang in the air like the last embers of a fire, glowing softly before dissolving into the night. The final images of the West pass through your mind, gentle and fleeting. A single tumbleweed rolls across an empty street under the moon. The prairie grass sways once more in a soft night breeze. The lantern on the porch flickers, then fades completely, and the sky above, endless and starry, becomes the soft blanket of your sleep. You are deeply relaxed now. Every muscle is loose and heavy. Your arms and legs rest effortlessly. Your thoughts are slow, soft, and far away. Each inhale brings warmth and safety. Each exhale carries you deeper into a space where dreams flow like rivers, gentle and endless. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to think about, nothing left to hold on to. The Wild West has become a part of your dreams, and it will keep you safe there all night long. As your mind drifts to the quietest edge of sleep, a soft whisper returns, almost like the night itself is speaking. You are safe. You are calm. Sleep is here. The words echo gently, fading each time, until there is only stillness. And your breath is the only sound in your world. The story has ended, but your rest is only beginning. The night is yours, the stars are yours, and sleep carries you far beyond the frontier into a peaceful, uninterrupted night. If this journey through history has brought you calm, remember to subscribe for more relaxing history sleep stories. Each one is here to guide you into the gentle embrace of dreams, where the past becomes a peaceful place to rest. For now, let the night hold you. Let the story fade. Let sleep take you the rest of the way.